Good evening, everyone. Warren Select Board, April 22nd, 2025. Public comment. Anybody? Going once, going twice. Agenda changes.
Yes. We need to add the paving bid. I opened all the bids today, there were 5, I'll give you an update. We need to approve the purchase of the highway truck
Sale. Okay.
and the pavilion update.
Okay.
And then the only other 2 things, we are not ready for the bond council agreement because I did not hear back from Eggleston, Primer, and
Piper.
Primer,
Piper and Eggleston.
from Eli, basically.
Yeah, that
And
one.
then planning commission, they're not ready to give an update, but they want to come to our first May meeting, so we can take those 2 things off.
Okay, so let's put the
Right.
paving bids where bond council was,
Okay.
and the truck where the planning commission was, and we'll, no, below basement cleanup, because both of those things are Jim. What do you think?
Sure.
Let him do historical society and basement cleanup, and then we'll do the other 2 things, which are the truck and the pavilion.
Okay.
Great.
Got it.
That's it, right?
That's all I have.
Okay, awesome. Town administrator update.
So we received a quote from Wood & Wood to update the welcome signs around the village. The quote includes repaint the faces, replace the molding pieces, as well as replace any posts that need it. The quote is in there, and the quote includes delivery and installation in the amount of $10,300. These signs haven't been updated since 1996, so I think it's time.
Wow.
They're historic.
And where's that money?
Can it come out of the Historical Society's
We
budget?
added 15,000
We
to our
don't so
building
many
maintenance
colors.
fund. Is that what we did? We added 15,000 to our building maintenance fund?
We did, but we were gonna take it out of planning.
Planning.
It's
Planning.
part of the planning and development, part of that plan of signs throughout the town, and information sign was going in.
Cool. Great.
My question is, are we adding the dog park on the bottom of the Brook Road and the school, do you think?
So does that beg the
Dog
question,
park?
is it just for Brooks Recreation Field?
Yeah, yeah.
Cause that is one of the signs
Yeah.
that he's gonna.
Right.
update.
Yeah, what are the signs? Sorry.
It says it's the north and south entrance signs, the directional sign that's at the bottom of the hill, cause it's 2-sided, and then the sign at Brooksfield, Warren Elementary.
Office, south entry, and
So there's 6 signs
But maybe
total.
Brooks Rec Field means dog park. I don't know.
I like the idea.
No,
of putting
I
the
like
dog
the
park
idea,
on it.
yeah.
I feel like if we added the dog park, we should add the skate park, and if we add the skate park, we should add the tennis courts, and if we add the tennis courts,
Whoa,
we should add
whoa,
the
whoa,
playground.
whoa,
So
whoa,
what
whoa.
I'm
No.
saying is like, I think just recreation field. Recreational hub.
but I don't think dog park falls into recreation, so I would say dog park could be separate from that. I think recreation department, I expect tennis courts and baseball and blah, 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 blah. I don't expect a dog park. If I was
Although
looking for
you
a dog
do
park.
see that
If I was
more and
looking for
more.
a dog park, I wouldn't think, oh, the rec field probably has the dog park, put it that way.
Yeah. Also, the dog park is managed by Mad River Rec, and the rest of the recreation field is,
Oh, Mad River Rec.
No,
no, is our
it's a pass-through
recreation
for their funds.
committee. Oh,
That as they use the the Mad River Rec as a pass-through for their donations, as their 501c3.
The dog park, yeah.
right, but all of the signage up there points to the Mad River Rec District.
Correct.
My point being,
Oh, do
it's,
you mean at the dog park?
they do,
A dog park.
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Like, they oversee that.
No. The dog park, the
Well, we have an
The
MOU with,
Warren Rec Department oversees the dog park. You guys made that decision last year.
We have an
oversees
MOU
the
with the Mad River
dog
Rec
park?
District for the dog park.
Yeah.
Right.
We
Yeah.
signed an MOU with the Mad River Rec District for the dog
Mad
park.
River. Yeah.
Which is why I think it might make sense for it to be on the sign because it's kind of a separate entity.
It's interesting.
But then when you also want the walking trails that are there that aren't.
So, but
That's
to
like
your,
mine.
so to your point, I wonder, is there an opportunity in this sign update to be able to like have more signage about what's happening in town on those signs instead of new signs? And is that something that we want?
I guess it's a question of how busy we want those signs to get. My personal feeling about signs is that you look at them while you're driving, and that's not necessarily great, so we don't want too
I
much
don't look at
information.
them while I'm
Or you don't look at them at all. My only reason for thinking that we should call out the dog park is that it's the only one in the valley, and people go specifically looking for it. I wouldn't necessarily look for it there just thinking it's a
Okay,
recreation area. If it's a recreation area, I might think, oh, rec things, not
Right.
dog things.
but to that end, how many of those people are coming down Brook Road to get to it?
I don't know.
Probably not very many.
Probably all coming off Route
They're
100.
mostly coming off Route 100, so they'll probably never see it. I think we should leave them as they are.
If you guys
And
wanna leave
then
them as
we
they are,
should,
that's
we
fine.
should
I'm
at
not
some
gonna
point
sit here and
have the
argue about whether to put
conversation.
dog park on the sign or not. We had a
That's our
long
job.
meeting now.
But at some point, we should talk about, how can we better promote the Brooks Recreation Field? And that sort of begs that question. What do we think of this? Want to take a look?
I don't buy signs very often. so-
Yeah, me neither. My one thought is painted PT post replacements, and in my experience, I really hope that means that they have dry PT sitting waiting to be painted, because if you put paint on fresh PT, it's coming off.
I think we could ask them.
Yeah, I think there, it does say in there that it's
Look at the
6 to
back.
9 weeks for fabrication. So one might.
We wait a full calendar year at least before we
Okay.
paint PT.
I mean, I would think that that's their business,
I would
the
think they'd
signage,
have-
so.
Let's just
We can
ask.
ask. Mhm.
Yeah, let's just ask
Okay.
and make sure.
What do you want to do with the old signs?
Are these new? Completely new?
I don't know. It looks like it.
New PT posts,
Yeah.
replacement molding pieces on the north entry, and repaint the faces. So the sign stays.
Okay.
One-sided HDU background to match existing, PT posts painted, cutout copy painted black, painted moldings, and painted additional copy. They're keeping the signs.
Yeah,
They're reusing them. Repaint posts and moldings on site. Light touch-up paint. I think that speaks to not adding dog park anyway, because all they're doing is a light touch-up on those signs.
but I like the idea of maybe once the playground is done, we revamp that sign
Yeah,
to sort of say what Shannon had suggested was like, recreation hub.
yeah, it is
can direct
becoming
people.
that more and more, right? And we're only spending 540 on that sign in particular, so that feels good. If,
Yeah.
do we need
Brook Road,
P?
Brook Road entry sign?
This is it okay that we're engaging in a large contract sum with the former sign producer? Typically, if we're spending this, we would have to do an
I was
RFP.
thinking about that, whether we need to put out an RFP for that much money.
I don't even know anyone else that does that work, and they made the signs originally.
I think it's because we're updating them. But my feeling is if somebody were to come in and update them, they don't have any of the paint colors, the artwork,
Yeah.
the font,
Right.
all of that. And so the price tag would be
Much higher.
significantly more.
Really?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
It feels specialized enough.
Yeah.
That's a lot for that one sign.
It is. That Brook Road
Is it because
entry
it's,
sign,
why is it so much more than
it needs one whole side redone
it's one-sided HDU background?
and posts.
And this one doesn't need the,
This is
Side
just
redone.
posts. Yeah, this one's
Oh,
redoing one
repaint
whole
face,
face.
repaint.
Right, but this is replacing that face. I wonder if, I mean, I trust that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm certainly no
They-
sign
they-
fabricator,
yeah.
and I think we should do it.
They came and looked, put their eyes on every single one of them.
Yeah.
I told them, I said they
Did
need
you
a lot
have a
of love.
conversation with them when they submitted this?
I haven't since they submitted it while I was on vacation.
What do you guys think?
We determined that that it's not something we need to call out an RFP on.
I don't think so.
We're not replacing them, we're just,
Updating.
you know,
I think
updating them.
We're updating their signs, so it makes sense, but I do think that we need to look at that, policy anyway.
Yeah,
Because
in
it-
general.
Yeah, in general, because things have gotten so much more expensive, so the bar that triggers the need
Right.
for an RFP may be too low.
Right.
And I think we should probably look at that.
Yeah. But I'm fine with going ahead with this contract.
Do I hear a
With the
motion?
question, making sure that it's seasoned PC
Yeah.
for the posts. I'd move we approve contract agreement with Wood and Wood to replace or to update 4 signs for the town of Warren welcome signs for the amount of $8,500.
Uh,
The con-
10,000.
10-3
Oh, sorry.
with delivery and install.
oh, $10,300 on the condition that they're using dried, seasoned, pressure treated for the posts.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Rebecca, you're still going, I think.
Yep. Dana and I completed the federal grant compliance monitoring audit for the hazard mitigation plan on Friday, April 11th. They pointed out 2 corrective action requirements within our policies. Our purchasing policy doesn't contain written procedures for determining allowability of costs, which is a requirement for federal funds. So basically, the example that he made was, can I go meet with a contractor and have a beer, and is my beer an allowable cost? No, it's not. So and they did give us language, I'll explain it in my update, of what they feel. We don't have to add, he gave us a whole website of like what is allowable and what is not. So we have to add that to our purchasing policy, as well as we have to, our conflict of interest policy doesn't meet the federal written standards of conduct covering conflicts, so we have to submit, we have to submit a new, an amended policy for conflict of interest. Again, they gave us some suggested language. This Matthew Campbell he was great.
Amazing.
He was really
Awesome.
great. Super easy to work with.
Yeah, we had set up a lot of those guidelines during COVID, so we were
Yeah.
fortunate about that.
Right,
Just
yeah,
because
that's
we were
right.
working with money by ourselves. So,
Yeah, exactly.
when we were able to follow it through, there was, the accountability was something we just said that we can add.
Yeah, exactly.
The conflict of interest is a definite.
Yeah, exactly. So we have until May 26th to respond to these 2 corrective action items.
To respond or to correct them?
Well, the response is the draft of the corrections.
Okay.
But he said that we can work with him throughout this process. They gave us recommendations in the paperwork that they sent back to us. And so Dana and I will work on those, and we'll come back in front of all of you before May 26th to formalize and amend.
So it's just the allowable costs and the conflict of interest policy.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
Great.
That was it?
Yeah, it was super. I mean, we were
Yeah,
done in
it
like
was-
an hour and 20 minutes. They
Yeah,
said,
yeah, I
you
mean,
know-
we were supposed to be there 3 hours, and
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca and I were like, oh, no way. And we were there, I mean, an hour and a half, hour. 50
yeah,
minutes.
tops.
So it was
Yeah,
pretty smooth.
yeah. I mean, our purchasing policy was it was written in 2012.
Okay.
So he said, given how
Yeah.
the age of this policy, it needs to be updated anyways. So, I opened 5 paving bids this afternoon at 2:30. And we have it on the agenda, so we can talk about that later on in the agenda, because we'll have to award it
Yeah.
at tonight's meeting. And then Andrew and I submitted a letter of intent to V-Trans today. This would be to help with a new assessment on the road erosion inventory that the state requires of all towns. And it's basically, it's roads that drain directly into surface waters, streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, wetlands. And we'll keep you updated on that. It's basically just a letter of intent to say that
All
we,
of our major roads.
yeah, that we, we would like to participate in this new assessment. I mean, that we have to, but they could potentially give us some matching funds
Great.
for roads that they see need to be redone.
What is the name of the program?
It's the road erosion inventory.
Road erosion.
It's the MRGP that Andrew
Does
has to
every
do
year.
every year. But this is just a new inventory of all of our roads.
MRGP always throws me off.
Yep.
Yep.
Great.
And I've been on vacation for a week, so
Yes,
It's
and
not-
you're like sun kissed and
not a
lovely.
whole lot. So it was a good time.
Good.
So I appreciate you letting me have time off.
Yeah. Thanks for taking time off. You're allowed. Okay. Are you finished?
Yeah.
Dana, treasurer update.
So, as most of you know, we had quite a nice increase in the education funding. So it did put us in a little bit of a tighter gap. We have, we'll be able to have a revolving credit line again like we have, but we probably will have to dip into it. We have a revolving credit line at $1 million, and we will finalize that when I send them parts of the audit. So they want to see the audit from this year. They have all the cash flow, everything like that. And if you have a sheet.
I gave you
They-
the spreadsheet.
They
in
being
here.
Northfield?
Northfield Savings Bank, exactly, sorry about that. They gave us a pretty great interest rate, because as you know, they're going a little bit haywire, it's 4.8. I plan on paying it back, which we have never used a credit line for probably 6 years, I would imagine, because we haven't had that much of an increase.
Right.
So, yay for the state, doing a good job. So this year it's 4.8, we will pay it back most likely the first, I'm hoping for most of it, all in the first week of September, because we do get a chunk of change by the second and third week of July. So we should be, as you can see, without any complications, borrowing from the credit line, leaving it with a balance of about $150,000. And that doesn't dip the checking balance below 150, 140.
When do
There
we,
is- pardon,
sorry, when do we expect to need to
Have-
draw on that?
Probably the end of May.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2 payments, the Harvard's payments was a total of 5.4, and the state was 11.8. So we did have a pretty significant increase this year on it.
What was that increase? I know you guys told us. I was just trying to
It was
remember.
about 2.8.
Yeah.
2.8 million. More than last year.
Yeah.
Jeez.
As a chunk.
It's a big, it's more than a
But
chunk.
you guys, the most wonderful thing is that we have been able, we are doing really well financially. We have a really nice,
Towns aren't supposed to do really well financially.
we are doing
Covering our
fine
butts
as
nicely.
it is right now. We are not, we will be able to pay it back. We are, the audit is done, it's just not done.
Formalized.
It's not
yeah.
reported
Yeah,
or
right.
whatever.
So Rick is end of March was insane because they had March 31st for a ton of audits. We'll get a letter shortly, I'm going to say. So I'll forward that on to you, and then I'll forward it on to Megan at Northfield Savings Bank.
So we expect to be borrowing essentially from June to September.
Probably she usually, the deposit of the money is very quick, as you guys probably remember the credit
Right.
line popped in. The paperwork will come to you probably, we're hoping the first select board meeting. If not, if it comes before, I'm gonna call you guys all in to sign off that paperwork.
First select board meeting in
May.
May.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And then
Oh, in
we'll
May.
get the money will be transferred, well, the credit line will be available for the town to borrow if needed, but we have about 7 million in the Premier account that we're gonna draw for these next 2 payments. It won't cover that whole payment entirely.
So it's that 665,834 that's over what we have.
Correct.
So you're gonna borrow from the line of credit, how much? That much?
We have $1 million credit line,
Understood.
but we're
But
probably.
you're not gonna use it all.
No, we're not.
No,
What
we're
are
not
you
gonna touch
thinking?
it.
You're
Well,
gonna
what
use-
I'm hoping is I put in about 750 for the end of May. We probably won't need that. We actually need like $650, $650,000. So I think that, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll give you an
Okay.
update when,
She's done a pretty good job of laying it out
I just
on
don't
the
know that I
spreadsheet.
understand what I'm looking at. Credit line, okay, so you're gonna pull from the credit line in May, 250,000, and then in June, 150,000, and then in July, another 150,000.
no, we're going to, that is the remaining balance of the credit line. So I'm gonna pull 750 in May, so you'll have 250,000 left from the credit line. That will be the balance of it, from the million. Then I'll be pulling another $100,000 in June, and then we're done pulling from the credit line.
Why do we need to pull 850,000?
Because we won't have enough
Cover
to cover
expenses.
for the expenses that are coming in. We've
Where
got-
do we see the pulling of the 750,000?
It's in my formula that I never showed anyone, so don't.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'm not
It's the
seeing
credit, it's
the
just,
draw.
this is the remaining balance from the
Oh,
first draw.
of the million,
Yes.
this remains?
Yes, and then
Oh, okay,
another,
thank you.
yep.
Thanks
yep.
again.
Okay,
Does that make sense to you guys?
it makes sense,
Okay, I'll
thank
keep you
you.
updated when I get the paperwork, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Sounds
We've
good.
talked to department heads about, end to curb expenses right now, unless it's absolutely necessary, just, we don't wanna touch the line of credit if we don't have to. I mean, we know we have to,
Well,
but
we
we don't
don't
wanna take it.
until we have to.
Exactly.
Right.
We know we'll have to take some, but we don't wanna use it, unless we, on other expenses besides the tax payment.
Understood.
Right.
Yeah. I think Rebecca sent a note out to them before her vacation, and,
Yeah,
It didn't go over too well.
no,
yeah, I
we
guess,
could have some support from you guys if that would be.
Yeah.
that would be-
I mean, are we impeding their ability to do their work?
Right.
Is there a threshold
No.
that we're thinking of expenses? Like, for example, we had tasked the library with looking into some shelving, right, for the basement. If they're gonna go to the surplus store and spend $200 on shelving in the basement, is that the kind of expense that they can?
No, we are asking, if you look on the chart, I put the expenses that we had last year. That, from June of last year, you can see the estimated expenses. So if you subtract out, in May, we have the state payment of 5.8 million.
Yep.
So, 100,000, what is it, what do I have, $1 million left, something like that? Those are the expenses that we had in May of last year. Am I doing math? Do I need a,
I just don't understand.
So you're saying you're asking department heads to keep their spending to what they spent last year in May? Is that, I'm not,
yeah, I mean, they don't need, we've asked them not to go, they don't need to go possibly and buy grater blades of $40,000 right now with the payment. If they've talked to the buyer, then possibly they can work out it, hey, the check won't come until July. Do you know, I mean, we've asked, this was part of the email, that, hey, if you're gonna do large expenses, you're gonna have to postpone payment for you could have to up to 60 days. You might not have to. It might be very smooth and there might be, there won't be any problems. But we are just asking them, because we've never had to use the credit line before. I'm just being tight,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, no, I understand, I totally understand where you're coming from. And I think we need to be mindful of what's happening in the larger universe, which is potential price increases.
Right.
To a
Makes
very
sense.
significant degree if things are coming over the border, et cetera. And therefore, paying the 4.8 on the credit line
Right.
may be the more cost-effective option than postponing
purchase.
the purchase.
I'm just, you see the expenses there, you see what payroll is gonna be. We'd like to be able to meet everything. We've always been tight, you guys. We always end up with like $130,000 in the checking account to make sure everything is done for July before the tax payments start coming in. We run a really tight ship. We have money coming in that we weren't expecting. The ACH, the monthly ACH is about 40,000. We've got payments coming in from this, grant money.
Yeah.
We can't use that money for anything except those expenses, but we can pay off those expenses if they do come in.
So
Right.
department heads can say to you, can I make this purchase?
I think that's a fair.
That's what we've
Is
asked.
yeah.
Yes.
That's what we've asked.
And so the support of you to go to the department heads would only help Rebecca and I
Yeah.
during the day.
Can I just ask a question on that? For these estimated expenses, this is based on historical last year
Yes.
expenses?
Yes.
So is it a worthwhile endeavor to just ask department heads to just forecast what they expected to spend over the next few months? And that way we at least know what they had in the pipeline?
I
don't know
don't
if
know if
that's-
we need to actually do that, Kaylee. I think that's a great idea, but some of the months aren't over the top. We just are reminding them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not asking
Right,
them
but
to,
I'm just saying, like,
you know.
if there's variability, because if this is just last year's, like maybe
Oh, I
there
see
were
what you're saying.
expenses,
Yeah, I see what you're
expenses
saying.
that were kind of outliers.
Yeah,
for
it can't
last
hurt.
year.
I think it's a great idea, especially for
Yeah.
the large players, right? Like with the
Yeah.
road crew, if we were to say, hey, Andrew, what were you forecasting needing to buy and spend in the next 3 months? Let's take a look at those. Is there anything that can wait, or do we need to make allowances for this?
I just think it makes it more of a conversation instead of a, like, postpone all the things.
Yeah,
And it's nice to know kind of what we were expecting and
Right.
what we're putting off and why.
I mean, we're not saying you
Right.
absolutely cannot make
Oh,
any,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
purchases right now. We're just asking for larger ticket items. They need to come to us and have a conversation.
so maybe we should clarify, because that isn't the way that it came across to me from some of the other participants.
Got it.
So let's make sure that everybody understands that their operating costs are still available, and if there are any larger expenses, we want to make sure we review what those
We've
will
told
be.
them all that.
Well, but
Sorry.
you're also asking for our support,
Yeah.
and so this is the way in which
Yeah.
we can support you.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, you guys, with going through the federal thing, the purchase agreement says that.
Yeah, it does.
Every department head is supposed to go to either myself, town administrator, and the select board to see if those large ticket items can be approved. They're not.
So we'll remind them of that.
Do
Yeah.
we,
Yeah.
Thank you.
do we have a
That-
definition of a large ticket item for each
I-
department? I
On the
mean, are we?
purchase thing, I think, was it over 5,000?
I think so.
Yeah, something like that.
But again, it might need to be updated.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean,
This is the purchasing policy that we're talking about?
When did you
We
guys send this out?
circulate that?
send what out?
The,
I would say a week before we
Notice.
left
It
or
was,
something.
yeah, it was shortly before I
First-
left.
okay.
In mid, ish, 9th, 10th or something.
I have not heard anything, and I would encourage department heads to bring it to our attention if it's a problem. It sounds to me like it's just, it's an inconvenience,
Yeah.
and it would be, it's nice, it's nice for them to be able to just do what they do, but in this case, we're being asked to have a conversation instead of just doing it.
Right.
Right.
If that's a problem, then I think I'm happy to have them come and talk to us.
I think Dana's point is
Think we
that
should-
she would like it to be a conversation all the time with a large purchase. Is that what you're, like, that's the way the policy is written?
It is, and
That's-
I don't know if
That's a
what's-
very big conversation to switch from the way we've always been doing it
Yeah.
to every,
Correct.
you know,
Yeah.
having to
I'm
get
gonna
permission
say
for
that.
everything, so.
I think also what I'm trying to say is that we haven't ever had to dip into the credit line for
Right.
a long time, and that's something new for myself.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And-
Makes us nervous.
It's
And
right,
it
yeah.
is something that one of the reasons that Rebecca and I had this conversation of sending out an email is because I did look at last year's expenses. I did, you know, there is a chunk of change. We've budgeted, I was able to stash away enough money I thought was
Right.
put away, and it wasn't, you know, so we're still good, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? We just, I think I
We just need to be aware.
I'd like
Yeah.
to sleep at night, okay?
And we really appreciate you being so careful with
Yeah,
the
I'm-
town's funds.
I'm
That's
cheap.
excellent.
I am tough.
I don't think anybody could have forecast the increase in the education fund.
No,
So no fault or blame there.
no, and I think we planned really well last year with the tax base and everything like that. We've always borrowed money, but we've never used it.
Understood.
So This
Taking the
revolving
credit-
credit, we
taking
are
the line
very
and not borrowing
fortunate
Yeah.
against it.
to be able to get that.
So from our end, you're sort of asking that we reinforce the
Yes.
request for discussion from department heads for any large purchases.
Right.
Would you like to set a bar on what you see large purchases, regardless of the purchasing policy?
I mean, 5,000 seems like that's a daily bill.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of like
I would say,
10 to 15, yeah.
Okay.
And if they can push the payment off until, honestly, mid-July, that would be lovely. You know, if they can do a 60-day payment thing, that's easier for me. I don't know, there's no issue. And there's-
So delayed or paid incrementally?
Correct, correct.
Okay.
Is that gonna affect the truck purchase?
No, it's capital.
no, it's capital.
That's capital,
Yeah.
okay, because capital is separate, okay.
Okay. Anything else, Dana?
No, I'm done. The warrant for that payment, one of the payments is out there.
Yeah.
Yes. It's in our,
Delinquent tax sale is July 16th.
Oh,
There's 18 properties for sale, and at this point, people are paying off things, so we are under 200,000 for total delinquency, which is
it's not bad.
normal,
Yeah.
you know, so normal this time of year. Let me think of what else, I'm trying to think. I don't think anything else is, and that's like a red flag or weirdness or anything, but, yeah. And most of those property, well, I'll come to you before Selectboard meeting, yeah, that's fine, never mind, I'm done.
thank you.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Okay. Paving. Fun.
You guys have a chart in your folders of all of the bids that came in and the dollar amounts.
Come.
Thank you.
Hutchins, don't know that. Why are there so many options this year?
Isn't it nice?
Yeah.
The
It's
gentleman,
always been two.
the gentleman that
Last year was only one.
sat with me this afternoon from Hutchins, Jay Hutchins, said that a lot of them are looking for the work this year.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
the feds canceled so many contracts.
I don't know if it's that
Maybe.
or if it's towns aren't able to
Afford it?
afford it. So,
Huh.
yeah.
Wow.
All right, talk to us.
Competitive.
So Andrew, we have the right to, take the highest bid. We have the right to take the lowest bid.
Right.
It says it in all the paperwork that they all received when they submitted a bid. Andrew's recommendation is Pike, hoping that we can piggyback on Waitsfield's job
Well,
and that they can do it around the same time.
When is that?
which I think, don't quote me, but I think it's August-ish. So then we wouldn't have to deal with the bike race again and all of that.
School opening.
School opening, exactly.
So August-ish is school
Early
opening.
August-ish? Yeah.
I think it's early to mid-August.
Which
That
sometimes
Waitsfield
means
is doing,
September.
so.
So we could
be
be
after
before
that.
them, we could be after them.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure when.
Right.
Okay, is
He's
that
on
his
notice.
only reason for choosing Pike?
And they're great to work with.
Yeah.
And we've
Worked well with
used them like
Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
They know our
been very-
roads.
They've
they've
been
very
honored their
responsive
contracts,
and-
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had to
When
speak
they
to them a couple
screwed up.
years ago and they, yeah.
And Andrew said they've been
really
trying to
helpful since then.
prove themselves
Yeah.
ever since that
Yeah.
incident.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
And they're the least.
and they're the lowest.
and they're the lowest.
I was told that that price was a very good price.
That looks like a very good price compared to the others. 518,000 versus 381,000, top to bottom.
And I think
It's a
some of
big
these other
difference.
costs are a little bit more significant because they have to travel a distance to get to us.
Asphalt.
A lot of
unit,
these
but the
plants are
asphalt price is
Milton.
different too.
Newport, places like that. So they're a ways away from us.
Aggregate shoulder. Unit price.
And they're all bidding the same thing.
They all had to fill out a form. Yep.
Same quantity of asphalt, shoulder.
Yep. These are all the bids right here. They'll have a form that they have to fill out. We pre-fill the form to how much we need for yardage and units and all of that stuff. And then it's there, they all have different, prices per yard, per unit.
What's the Pike, what is this? How is it that Pike prices their wrap shoulders? Like 2,500. The others are all.
I
Like,
They're
yeah.
using a different unit of measure, it looks like.
apparently.
Yeah, they're definitely figuring that differently. Yards, 500.
500.
That's odd. Oh, I think it's a typo.
That's what I was just
It's a
wondering.
typo. It's $25.
$25? That'd be my guess.
Here's the bid.
Oh. Yeah,
It's $25.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
I was trying to get that out because I needed to get that to everybody for the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because everybody needed me all at the same time.
And
Just need
they're
to.
all doing it the same way, right? Like this, Hutchins includes what he's using. He's got 3/4 plant mix, etc. For the shoulders. Do we know that they're doing it all the same?
It's whatever they've given us.
Yeah.
Liability. There you have one. Yeah. I don't.
Okay, well, I
Feel
mean,
we
I
need
think
to
we
look at that.
always take Andrew's recommendation.
And they are a known quantity.
They are a known entity, they're the lowest bid, I'm fine with me, what are your thoughts?
Sounds right to me.
Okay. Great, do we have a motion?
Motion to, what? Accept
Pike.
bid from Pike Industries for paving projects, 2025 paving at $381,727.10.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. 381,727.10. August, let's go before Waitsfield.
Let's. Let's just.
And let's tell them to do more than shim and pave on the East Warren Road.
Okay, you want to take, want to send those back? Oh, Waitsfield.
Hey,
Oh,
Waitsfield, more
yeah.
than a ship.
Can't- there.
All right, on to Lincoln Gap. Speed enforcement.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? What do
Oh,
we
we're just
want?
trying to decide.
Do we have any of our Lincoln Gappers? No?
Only,
So it's Perry.
Well, that's right. Perry doesn't want us to do anything.
Where is
No
that?
signs.
More ditch witches.
well, if it works, then by all means, do it.
So, but let's talk about how we want to enforce in conjunction with the speed study.
Yeah, isn't that's really all.
That's our question
Is
for the
whether to do the
Because nobody
study
else is
first or
here,
the,
So
yeah.
I think,
Yeah, that's the thing that we're trying to determine, because we've heard from a number of them that they are concerned that having enforcement while we do the speed study will skew the speed study
right,
down.
it doesn't
You know,
make
right?
a lot of sense.
I agree with that. So what should we do? Because there are two thoughts here. As Camilla had suggested, it would be nice to know if the enforcement is working. And if the enforcement there reduces the speeds during the speed study, that could be an interesting thing to know.
Do the speed studies cost anything?
No.
No. It's meant to last for 2 weeks. So,
At the least.
The speed study?
We could have it for a month.
so what if we allowed week 1, no speed enforcement? Right?
Sorry.
She likes that.
I was thinking the same thing.
And then we tell the sheriff's department, hey, can you pay attention?
How about 2 and 2?
We're 2 and 2, and let the speed study go longer.
When is the speed study?
It's meant to start May,
The week that it opens, May 16th.
May 15th.
May
yes.
15th.
Everybody's gonna be really excited and
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
So, and that's
gonna
one
take a
of the
while for
reasons
people to
that we
realize
were
it, though.
thinking, hey, let's get the sheriffs there immediately, because from a safety perspective, like speed study aside, we want to make sure that our pedestrians are safe.
Well, and we want people to, as soon as they're driving on that road, go, oh,
Right.
okay, there's a reason to slow down. I mean, there's,
We can't
We
just
know that-
drive like a bat out of hell here.
yeah, or just think about it. We just don't think about it. That's why we speed.
Right.
So,
Shannon, do you have a thought?
Yeah, definitely make sure that at least one of the 2 weeks where there is no police officers, make sure that's during summer time. So like after the big weekend, right? Like summer operations start. So push it a little bit in May, if that's possible.
Tell me what you mean by summer
What is it,
operations.
Memorial Day? Which one's the day?
oh, I mean, after Memorial Day
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, because then it will get more usage, isn't that right? Like, doesn't visitation and everything starts ticking up around then? Because it's not just a
Because
Vermonter
schools
problem.
have let out.
Yeah,
Schools
it's
don't
not
let out.
just a
Yeah.
Vermonter problem.
Yeah,
There's no way it's just a
exactly.
Vermonter problem. What do you think? You live on there. What do the license plates look like after Memorial Day?
it's.
Coming
it's
over
a lot of
that, I don't think
Vermonters,
it's-
I
yeah.
think.
All right.
What we've
Roxbury's
heard,
totally,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Lincoln,
we've heard it's mostly the
Commuting.
commuters
yeah.
Really?
that are speeding. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice
But
try.
so your point is that the speed study should potentially continue beyond the end of May into full-blown summer.
I'd be curious to know if that would affect anything. I don't know, personally. Just from a numbers.
I mean, I don't think it really makes it. I don't know if it makes a difference, ultimately, because if we know that people are speeding, it doesn't really matter whether it's during a high time or a low time.
Because it's like average numbers of speeding
Hmm.
versus the number of total speed.
Right.
And like our
It's the average speed
our
people are going.
solutions are not
Is
driven
the
by dealing with the seasonality of the road. Our solutions are going to be driven based on like
What's happening?
how
Even on May 15th.
yeah.
I feel like the speed study, I'm pretty sure nobody thinks that there's not speeding going on. I know there's speeding everywhere. I thought that the speed
Yeah,
study.
Andy, where are you?
Right. I thought that the speed study in this case was partially to help us understand where,
It was.
because it's going to be in two
Right,
different places,
right.
right? Where the, you know.
Right, 'cause
Signage
it's
would
like
be-
it's
Right,
like
to help
the
us identify it,
straightaways
yeah.
versus yeah.
So I think I think that the ultimate point is to help us understand what the behavior is, not whether people are speeding or not.
Right.
So let's,
Yeah, we want to know where they're
Yeah,
speeding so
I
that
mean-
we can most appropriately place signage.
I'm fine with holding off on the sheriffs for a little while, but I still think that's the only thing that's gonna slow anybody down, even once we put signs up.
Yeah.
It's
You mean
gonna be a
radar
sheriff's
traps?
presence. No,
Just the
having
presence.
sheriff, just having them there.
Yeah.
Oh, they
Yeah.
nailed somebody like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You saw the blue lights.
Oh, really? Yeah, yeah, they definitely have, you
Right.
know, paid attention. They're
Yeah, I guess-
more
I mean,
on- I
my-
think that's gonna change behavior
I
more
think
than anything
tickets
else.
will wake people up.
Yeah.
That's certainly what the sheriff's department tells us.
Yeah.
That's the most effective form of enforcement.
I know it
That's
works for me.
just common sense.
I- You know, if I see a cop,
Rochester-
I'll be slow there for a while.
20 years ago, Rochester had the reputation. My even
Mm-hmm.
sister told me, don't speed through Rochester.
Yeah.
Oh, they
I
still
said,
caught
okay.
me last summer.
And they were nailing people left and right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what did I do? Nail the brakes.
Right.
Yeah, you come into Rochester and you just
That's it.
slow down.
That's, this
Well,
is what-
I hear the concerns about skewing the speed study. My only concern is vulnerability of the pedestrians if we aren't there immediately.
But we're not getting killed left and right.
Okay.
Just saying.
So what do we want to do? 2 weeks
2 weeks.
after open, no police enforcement?
Yeah, if we can have it for a month, hold off on the sheriffs until after the first 2 weeks, I'm fine with that.
And can you do
because-
1 week down low and then 1 week up in the
I
middle and
think-
then 1 week further up? Can
If
you
he
move
gets-
it?
That's the
He gets
question. For the speed
permission.
study or for the sheriff's?
No, for the speed study. Is that
Oh,
what
the
we're on?
speed-
It's in
No, I think
two
we have to put
locations.
them-
They
we just have to
it's
put
the-
them down
It's
and-
the tapes that go
Then
down.
how do you know
Oh,
the
you can't
locations?
move them?
We can't, no.
We can't.
No, we can't, but can we have them move
I
them?
don't think.
I can talk to
so.
Keith, but I don't think so.
That's no good.
It's free.
Yeah.
Like gift horse thing.
But maybe we could.
Send them-
I can ask. I can send Keith an
Yeah.
email.
Maybe we could, and the other thing that we want to make sure we know is
Thinking
we
outside
want
the
the
box.
sheriff's department to tell us when they are on Lincoln Gap, so that we can,
We can speak. Oh, sorry.
yes, precisely my thought process. I need to go to Rockydale.
Right,
So I'll put a bunch of
exactly.
trees in the back of the truck and go bah, it wasn't me.
So let me just clarify. We want the sheriff's department to come after Lincoln Gap's been open for 2 weeks.
Like June 1st.
Okay.
And when they come, if they could keep a log of when they're there, so we can see that in comparison to the speed tracker.
Does the speed tracker give us times?
It does. Every time when somebody
it
goes
does.
on, it makes a
Yeah.
timestamp. So I'm curious to see what does that do, right? If they're there on Monday from 9 to noon, and we look at the speeds from 9 to noon, and they're all 35.
Well, if we could do that, then do we really need to
Oh.
do it for 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off?
Yes, because the idea is that it changes people's behavior.
Yeah, I was just
over
gonna
time.
say, I mean, if you see a cop car, you're gonna slow down. It's a question of whether they continue to maintain
Right.
that behavior.
I was chatting with
Which
one
we
of the
won't know
officers.
because we'll take it away.
2 weeks ago, I think it was, because he was parked in my sister's driveway, and he was chatting with, Lucas, and so I just walked up and checked. He said that he was I didn't get too many details from him, but he was at one point sitting down with a pencil and paper and just, hitting people with the radar, I think, and writing, the numbers in the notebook or something. So it was kind of a
Doing his own
Yeah.
speed study.
I think Brett's
kind
asked
of an
him to do that.
unscientific,
Yeah.
unofficial
Yeah.
record.
Yeah.
And he said, there was a fair number of people that were speeding. So in this time of the year, it's all us.
Yeah.
Yes, oh, yes, it is, exactly.
But I don't know
Sugar
when he
Bush,
was doing
yeah.
the notebook. I didn't think to ask him if it was last year, or was it recently, or.
Well, we've gotten
So-
specific complaints about a van that drives through there, a Sugar Bush van to pick up the employees.
Oh, yeah?
And
They
they're
must go up-
always
they
late.
must go up
That's-
West Hill
I
or
think I
something.
know this thing.
Yeah.
Does it have the Sugar Bush name on the van?
I don't know if it has the name on the van,
It's not wise to speed when you're tagged.
Yeah.
but yeah. So
Okay.
he might be doing it for that because it was all different times. So I don't know. But he was asked specifically to sit up there and watch on West Hill and Lincoln Gap.
Well, once
the-
we
for the
get
van.
our speed study information, we'll ask him to give us whatever information he has.
And where are you gonna put the strips in the road?
Yeah, how are we gonna know where people speed, which is your.
We had, I think we had recommendations,
Yeah, we
didn't
had
we?
some
Yeah,
recommendations.
where we have the signs, where we have the, or was it the speed bumps? We have the report from.
Yeah, it's in the report.
Yeah,
VHB.
DHB, yeah.
Okay, because I would say like, you know, the kind of obvious place that people are speeding is when they're coming off 100. You know, because they're going from 50 and then,
That
Zooming up
nice
the hill.
smooth
Right.
ramp right up there.
I think the
Right
others, the other concern was the straightaway when
on the gravel, right?
when you're coming this direction, when you're headed east.
You come down off the mountain.
Off, yeah.
And you're like, ooh, look, it's straight.
on dirt?
Yeah,
Oh, but you can't put the speedy things on the dirt, right?
you can?
I think you can.
Oh, you can?
I don't know why
I
you
think so.
couldn't.
I don't see why you can't.
Oh.
He's saying before Vickery Hill and one after Camp Road.
Right.
Camp Road is that straightaway, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
Camp Road's way at the end.
Camp Road is right before you start going up
That's
there.
the Orion camp thing that you guys are working on.
Yep.
Not working on, not working
Not
on?
working on?
Working on,
That's-
not
We
working
should
on?
add that to our list.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
thought that was right where it transitions from dirt to
No, you're right. It is actually. I was thinking it was further. I was
Those are
thinking it
those
was.
road declassifications that we didn't
Yeah.
get to
Yeah,
last
so,
year.
yeah, because that's, I would, yeah, put it there, and then before or after Vickery Hill, you're saying?
I think because that's an area that people are worried when they're walking,
yeah.
and it's a kind of a blind area.
Yeah, you have to change, like, I always just change sides of the road. You know, so in other words.
So
you-
people can see you. So you're not
Yeah,
behind
so
the
if
blind
I'm-
hill.
There.
Yeah,
I
and
do the
Brenda
same.
does the same thing, she's the one who walks all the time. You know, is that when if you're walking down the road, when you're in the straightaway, you cross the road
Right.
100 yards prior, and then you go over the hill, you walk down 100 yards,
Yep.
and then you cross back over.
Right. So you're not at the top of the blind hill with someone coming at you.
In your lane.
Right, so
Going
they can't
60.
see you. That's
Yeah.
just common sense. Same with any blind corners. I do the
Yeah.
same thing on the blind corners.
Right.
You know, because we're not changing the shape of the road.
Right. Okay, are we good with that? We're
So-
gonna ask the planning district if we can have it for a month
And
with
whether
the
they
hopes-
can move it during
and
the
whether they
study.
can move it during the study with the hopes that the first 2 weeks are without enforcement and the second 2 weeks will have intermittent enforcement.
Yep.
Good? Good? Great. Can we move on?
That's,
Yes.
Jim, Shannon,
Okay,
Yes.
Historical Society,
they're here.
historian.
we're here.
We have a historical society. That's
We
exciting.
have, and they have members.
They're
They
active.
have a board.
They are a group. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just 5 of us. There was
No, it was cool.
possibly close to
And you're
20.
on it.
No, I just went in. Yeah, well,
She's history.
You are a
adjacent.
member of a
History
society,
adjacent.
though.
I haven't paid my
We
dues,
need
but I
you
will
$10.
be. I just want the money. 10? Oh, I thought it was
In fact,
25. Okay,
well,
good.
for your
25 for
family.
family.
You got a discount.
Yeah, so,
In that case.
grab Chris.
I'm in. Yeah.
Very good.
All right, please.
Shannon, would you like to go update them on the meeting that we had, or?
Okay. Let's see here. Well, we had upwards of 18, let's say 15 to 20 people who came. There was new faces I certainly haven't seen anywhere around town, and there were some celebrities. Rita came, which was pretty great, with her niece, and so it was a huge mix. Dorothy Todd, right? So we had like the greats,
Carl.
yeah, and the new team, right? And some of the new faces already got involved.
Awesome.
Like, clearly I'm a new face, and so I think of the board that was appointed, let's say 3 or 4 of them were first-time evers, which is, I think, a massive undertaking for someone who has no idea what's about to happen, myself included. But I think that clearly I will be leaning on Brent and Jim because they have different strengths and different visions, and so that's sort of the aim of what we're trying to do is just get some awareness out there and basically just figure out what people want to bring to the table and where their strengths are and how we can work that in to maybe some small work groups or different things and make sure people are doing what they want. so that it's fun, and so that things literally happen also, right? Because no one wants to do something that's awful. Though Jim is cleaning out the barn, speaking of,
Awful?
yeah.
So that's one of our focus, is to make that space usable
Yep.
somehow, right? And we wanted to intercept the gazebo raising, but we won't. We won't get that place cleaned out till mid-May. So we really kind of wanted to get that place open, enjoyable to go in. Right now it's a mess, rodents and everything else, so, but somehow make that a real usable space. I mean, it's such a cool barn.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a shame, people aren't saying, hey, do you mind if I have a barbecue out on the, because
Yeah.
we can open that up and you
Yeah.
can sit in there if it rains or something
Right.
like that.
That's great.
Right.
And so that's one of that's a big focus. And then
Jim, before I forget, I think that there is talk about having a party once the pavilion is complete.
oh well, there you
So
go.
there's the
Even better.
opportunity, and
Even
that's a
better.
better timeline.
Oh,
Shindig.
A shindig.
I think
Can't
that's
wait.
a great idea.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So we'll be ready for it then.
awesome. That should be probably June.
Yeah.
When is your work day? Did you schedule?
So we
it?
haven't settled on an actual day, but the community that was there said, mid-May, we're gonna try to get a few people down here. Really wanna focus kind of behind the barn as well, clean that space up, make that, walkable, usable. It'd be fun to lift a few of those pieces of equipment out of the dirt, get them on a couple cement blocks or something not fancy, but just, don't make it look like it's still trash in
Abandoned.
somebody's field. So,
That's great.
anyway, thank you, Shannon. Shannon had great ideas about, better or, kind of more varied community engagement. I'm kind of kicking around the idea of a radio show of some type.
Nice.
Dorothy Todd brought up the fact that, we're a community that has a radio, right? I mean, a radio
Yeah.
station. Let's get on it and, make it fun. Grab some kids from the school. Hey, you're a sixth grader, what do you remember about kindergarten? Right? And maybe get local history stuff and,
Yeah.
kind of John Gilmore type engagement versus, and then, interview our, other people that are residents. So those are
You
some of
could
the,
have a
so
whole
the,
there with Rita.
Man,
you
yes.
could, and then the other twist was, okay, let's, there are typically focus on, 1800s, 1700s. Be really cool to say, okay, let's pick 1950, town of Warren. Let's bring it to today. What happened? And because those people we can still talk to.
Right, right.
We're lucky that some of the
yeah.
older people did get interviewed in 1992, and those interviews are available. And I think they would play into that radio program. I think you
Yes.
could kind of interspice Rupert Blair talking about,
Yeah. Farming.
bootleg, bootleg liquor,
Right.
down in Tom Blair's house. So there's some cool stories. So anyway,
Just a note on when you talk about timeline, I think it would be really wonderful if there could be some acknowledgement of the people that were here prior to the white man.
yeah. So okay.
I think that's something that's
So-
coming into our consciousness as a country a lot more. Canada does really good work on this, and it's just really important to acknowledge who was here and whose lands we're actually living on.
That's very cool. Okay.
And it's kind of the thing that, the way I see it incorporated most often is it's like an acknowledgement of this work is being done on the land of the Abenaki, right? And just giving voice.
Oh, that's a great view. That had escaped me totally. So absolutely, we'll make sure that we keep our eye on that. That's. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
And I love the
Anything
idea
else?
of like
Yeah.
1950s to
To all
now.
those viewers out there, you can come to Historic Society meetings. Third Thursdays at 6 p.m. There will be snacks.
Are they here? Are those meetings here?
They're here.
In the municipal building?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Rita will be there, and this is
Maybe
Pretty
even
sick.
Polly. Did Polly come?
Polly didn't come.
No.
Another thing that we talked about was the time capsule in the gazebo. And I know that Chris was speaking to Maria about it. There are people who were part of burying it, and we have to figure out when it was and when it's supposed to be
I
dug
thought,
up.
I remember Andy and Luke saying it was
2026.
supposed to be dug up already. That we
I
missed
think it's
it?
we,
thought 2026.
we're debating
Oh.
Where do
Okay.
we go
75,
look for
76.
that? Where do we go look to
It's-
see?
it's- to find out. Well,
The record.
I think select board meetings. I'm guessing we could look back.
Hopefully
Either
it's not
Valley
a
Wait,
Recorder
when was
or
it buried?
we
Rita
don't know.
probably
75 or
knows.
76.
Rita
we
doesn't know?
think. Rita didn't. She
It's
might not have
probably
been.
in
She
the
may not
Valley
have been in the
Recorder.
room. She might know.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
It's probably in the Valley Recorder.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
That's what
yeah.
I said. But the select board meeting minutes that are in the vault are really nicely indexed, and it'll tell you whether maybe that was part of a conversation. So we might be able to look in the 70s.
Research.
So I had that written down as one of the things, the time capsule. We can research that. We'll try to figure that out.
Yeah.
And are we doing another one?
We should totally.
If yeah,
Because
when we
I
open
feel
that
like
one, we
with
should put a
the,
next
with the
one in.
pavilion, we should do another one. And with the 125th year for the
Of the
library.
yeah.
Oh my god, we want to connect with the library big time. I already
So
talked to Marie.
let's do a time capsule.
Let's do a time
It'll
capsule.
be like the
Capsule
episode
was
of Parks
created
and
in
Rec that goes
1976.
crazy.
1976.
Yep, so April
was
16,
76.
2025.
The bicentennial then, right?
Yeah,
And we're coming up on 250 next year.
76.
Yeah.
76.
26.
1976. It says it
Was the
kind of-
So it'd be
bicentennial.
2026, not 2025.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So we don't have to worry about
Yeah,
it.
so we have that for
Year.
next
So we have a
year.
year to plan.
That's tomorrow.
You were right.
76.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense.
When we
Everybody
didn't
was doing
secede
stuff in
from Virginia.
bicentennial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of time capsules and historical artifacts, did Brent share the horseshoe with you all that we found during excavation of the pavilion site?
No.
Well, we saved it. It's in the vault, I think. Brent's got a hold on it, and we were gonna hang it on the pavilion.
Oh.
But that feels fitting for the Historical Society to tell us what you want to do with it. It's there.
Okay. Thanks.
I think you gotta crack that flag out for 4th of July.
That
Is
the
it a
flag did come
48
up.
star, you said?
Well, the flag did come up, but yeah, we're gonna have to have a couple discussions about that. How we, because we could only probably do it up on the floor at the school,
Yeah.
which is fine. But
Huge. And, yeah.
yeah, we gotta talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't think we really covered that.
It's
We're all
an
doing a
enormous
parade
flag.
float
Is that the
for
other
4th of
one?
July.
It's big enough that I don't know how we would do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
A crane truck. My telehandler.
Well, it depends on
Your-
what kind of condition
the
it's in.
Yeah, the little-
If you want to lift
The
it.
orange one.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah,
it
that
out
would
in
do
the.
it.
Could you hang it up in the parking lot?
Yeah, totally.
4th of July?
Yeah. We could do that.
Yeah.
We have to get the lull down here. It's a little, it does drive on the road, but it's not ideal.
Okay, so that's Historical Society. You wanna move on to the cellar?
Is that all? Is that,
Well,
do you have
all for
any
me.
like specific
Thursdays, is that?
projects that are first and foremost? The Blair Barn?
Blair one.
Okay.
Well, and
One thing at a time, for me anyway.
Yeah.
and the meetings are just about let's get some people there, let's get some new faces there, let's make it a welcoming presence. We don't want to like come at them too much with trying to like volunteer. No one likes that.
Yeah.
So we're setting the stage.
Great.
We're getting
6:30
them
you
to-
said?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Yep, third Thursday.
Bring snacks.
And people can
There
join
will be snacks. That's
the
what I-
society even.
didn't have to
if
bring
it's
it.
a meeting.
Romantic.
It's an open enrollment
Awesome.
forever.
Bring gluten-free snacks.
Add me to the list.
Yeah, sure. And Tristan,
You want to
clearly.
bring your own damn snacks.
Come on. He teaches history.
What else? I had one question with respect to the Historical Society. There are display cases in the top floor of the town hall. previously, I believe they were owned by the Historical Society and were used in the event of exhibits to be able to display things.
Ooh, fun.
Please turn your minds to them at some point. Consider whether you want them or not.
Yeah.
We have discussed removing the majority of them, maybe keeping 2 of the nicer ones. That's our current plan because they're kind of clogging up the upstairs. A few of them are, 1 or 2 of them are broken.
Yeah.
They aren't the most attractive of display cases. So if y'all could just give them a thought and see what you think, and if they need to stay, or if that's the best place for them, or if they go to the Blair Barn. I think there are some in the Blair Barn
There are.
with
There are,
artifacts in
and
them.
they're already,
Yeah, they're full.
yeah, and those suffer from the same things.
Right.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool, they're kind of nice, they have some stuff in them, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best use of that space.
right. So there are like 5 or 6
Oh.
more of them
Yeah.
upstairs in the municipal building. Just be aware.
Okay.
You're having so much fun cleaning things out, Jim.
The benefit over there is there's an elevator.
Yay!
Okay,
Yeah, I think at least 2 of
I don't
them are
know if it'll
broken.
fit.
so any other questions or comments
I know of one, but yeah.
from anybody else?
The Rolodex?
It's yours.
No, it's part of the history.
It's still in the cellar. It did not get moved.
Okay.
I'm curious what your reporting expectations are of us so that we can make sure that we are timely and we do it often to make sure we're all abreast of what's going on.
Yeah.
What?
I don't think we have an expectation.
We didn't even have a
You are
historical
proactive.
society forever. We're not gonna. Yeah, right. I know.
We love that.
What'd she say? Once a year, town meeting at least.
No. Bi-monthly?
Quarterly.
Quarterly.
Let's start with quarterly.
Yeah, quarterly.
And I
Overwhelm anybody.
This will be the official first one.
and the newsletter to be
Yes.
Yeah.
will be an awesome place for all of us to stay abreast
Oh, yeah.
of what everyone is doing.
Oh yeah, side note, we'll sit down.
And hopefully the Historical Society will participate in
Absolutely.
that.
You should have a paragraph in
Yeah.
there.
Absolutely, yeah. So
So
I think we're
images.
imagining that each department has a spot.
Yeah.
And if you have information to communicate, great. If you want to have a revolving thing on there as well, awesome. So we're working through this process.
Yeah.
Please give us your thoughts.
Curious, what was they said there was an old newspaper or something, some publishing that was in Warren. Do you remember? Does anyone know what that was called? Was that a thing? I remember someone was saying it at the meeting.
Yeah, so
Is that
if you go back and look at
Denise?
like newspapers.com, I think I saw a newspaper that was published in Warren, but a very short time.
Yeah.
Let me go
Just
double
thinking for
check that.
titles for your newsletter. That's all.
Yeah.
Who
Could be
knows
fun.
that?
Oh, yeah,
Full
that's a
circle,
great
that's all.
idea. That could be cute.
Let me check that. There were several Valley papers.
Yeah.
way back.
Publication in a
Valley Reporter will know. Lisa will know.
Yeah.
It's listed up there too. I mean.
That's what I mean. I've heard
the
it. I
state
know
has
it.
There
was-
the state has a nice
There's the
list.
Valley News
Yep.
was a version, and the something paper or the
I'm thinking like back in the
Sheet.
1840s, there was
Oh.
also kind of.
Not the Warren
Yeah.
Star. It's in the Warren Store.
All right. We
Okay.
digress.
May we? Yes.
All right, basement, cleanup, please and thank you.
First and foremost, thank you, Perry, for the help. So
Oh,
Perry
nice.
stopped by, gave us some time on hauling stuff out and disposing of it appropriately. So far, we've recycled quite a few of the electronics display cases, displays, computers. I destroyed the hard drives. I'm gonna hand those back to Rebecca and kind of say, okay, you folks will figure out how to properly dispose of them after, but they've been just wiped with a magnet and destroyed. Then I'll let you figure out how to get rid of them. The Bowflex, Camilla said she wanted it,
Yes.
so next
You
week,
make it
But
next weekend, we're
unfortunately-
getting a work party together.
The Bowflex. Yeah, that was what I had my eye on.
I got the exercise
I'll
ball.
drag it out of there.
So
That'll do my back end. Just getting it out of
we
there.
put it on Front Porch Forum. So far,
No responses.
we're gonna
Really?
give it another week.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna get my son and we're taking it apart and
Yeah.
we'll figure out what to do with it from there.
Did
So,
you call Resource? Do they want it?
I called Resource, Perry called Resource on the binders. I didn't ask them if they wanted the Bowflex. I didn't.
Worth a thought.
I don't know,
But I
will they
can.
take stuff like that?
You could
Yeah.
Take a Bowflex?
Yeah.
like
take it.
Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook Marketplace
I don't do
is
Facebook.
Yeah, I don't
the
either.
hot place to sell things,
Yeah, it
apparently.
is.
Right,
Yeah,
or
my
just giving stuff
son-in-law's
away.
all about it.
Vintage
You know,
Okay.
Post it, say
so
free, and
But we had put that if they would like it, that they have to make a donation, and we listed 5
yeah, we
different,
did like the dog
you know,
park
a
and
donation
things
of their
like that. I
choice
said, come on.
to Warren.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
really,
Great idea.
you know, it's a pretty expensive piece of
Yeah.
exercise equipment.
I think
So we
Facebook
figured-
Marketplace is a good point, actually, if anybody can get on it, whatever.
I know
It-
how to do that.
Yeah.
yeah, you do Facebook, I'll do Craigslist.
Okay,
I'm
fair
old
enough.
school.
Fair enough. Yep. Yeah, so I just updated you on the binders. Nobody wants them. So we're gonna save some and then.
What are
we're gonna
these?
have to-
Sorry.
Binders.
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 Just empty
3-ring
binders?
binders.
Empty
Empty
binders.
3-ring
There's-
binders.
No one uses 3-ring binders.
Literally
No.
Oh yeah, no one writes anymore.
75.
Or
Yeah.
more.
Down there.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Maybe more.
Yeah, there are so
From
many
6-inch down to,
I'm just
inch.
Wow.
yeah.
I can
historical question for you.
I'll ask Tristan and see if Northfield.
I was just gonna say, have we checked with any of the schools
Portfolios,
to see if they want projects and, you know, anything, if they
If
could
they
use
can
them?
give them out to,
That's-
people don't have to buy them.
I can do that.
Expensive.
They are very expensive.
Okay, and
Students
like
don't.
when our kids get their list of school supplies, it
Yeah.
literally says like a zippered binder because kids lose all their paper. So that might be one of the holdups.
Also, a lot
High
of them
school?
are really.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
spend a little bit more time on trying to figure those before we dispose of them.
Okay.
Thank
And-
you.
Yeah. And so it's slow going, the sheriff's outpost will remain sheriff's outpost.
To be revamped by the Historical
We
Society.
will not be removing the jail,
No?
the one chair that's
Good.
bolted down there.
Good.
You gotta ask-
Do you know about that?
Shannon's like, what? Yeah.
We're doing a haunted
There you
Basement
go.
for
Haunted
Halloween. Oh my gosh.
That totally depends
So-
on the progress with the basement.
Anyway, it's slow going, but
would be scary.
we're making a little bit of progress. We've taken, I don't know, we've taken trash out, so we're, can at least get around the table down there now. You can get into the back room a little bit, get the exercise equipment out of there. It will be a usable space
Yeah.
again.
Amazing. Thank you,
Awesome.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Perry, for your
That's
help.
excellent.
So curious.
Okay, and the last part of that is the Valley Reporters.
Right.
So, without a legal formal opinion, we've decided that the town does not need to keep them as a record. We have in the past just out of convenience. The Valley Reporter is on microfiche with the state in Essex. So I went over there and actually went to Middlesex and said, hey, what if I wanted to look at the Valley Reporter? She said, sit down, what year do you want?
Oh, okay.
So I said this was just a test. And
Okay.
I ran out of there.
Never mind.
Where did you go?
That's funny.
Middlesex, the records place over there
Oh,
in Middlesex. Yeah, and however, so one of the people that works for the state was nice enough to call the Valley Reporter themselves, Jane, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the last, the state roving archivist, Jane, we'll call her. And the Valley Reporter would like years 71 through 1990.
Nice.
The only conflict is we also had a townsperson request, they were interested in the copies of the Valley Reporter, so I was gonna kind of leave it up to you folks as to who do you want me to give it to?
Whoever takes them takes the Bowflex.
Yeah.
Well, no, they take finders, because I hear.
Binders, yeah.
Was that Carol who said she wanted them?
Carol Pant, why did I write
I think it was
Pant?
Carol. Carol who?
Carol Chamberlain.
Carol.
Carol
That's
Chamberlain.
firm.
Oh, she did?
But
Didn't sound like she
She's
wanted them
not a warm
forever. It
resident.
sounded like she kind of wanted them to look at.
Well, have we let her know that the Valley Reporter would like 70 months or not? I think I would have the conversation.
Okay. I'll send her a note, and
We
I'm
will-
gonna say.
if somebody
they're-
wants them,
they're
we want
headed
them to
the
be
Valley
preserved.
Reporter.
If,
You
yeah.
wanna look at them between now and then?
Right,
Maybe you
or-
can look at them there and move on.
And I mean, I guess my inclination would be to defer to giving them to the Valley Reporter for their records.
Yeah.
If that's,
And
that
I-
feels more appropriate than a private citizen, but.
Well, I guess
They
I'm just
want them
curious
for a
why
reason.
Carol,
Yeah.
yeah, why
Right.
Carol wants them, and if she has the rest of the collection or something, then, that's
Yeah.
one thing, I don't know.
Okay, so that
curious.
leaves 1991 to the present.
Yeah. I would like to, my vote, if I had.
Sorry, just to clarify, Carol only wanted the same years that the Valley Reporter wants?
She didn't really
Okay,
specify.
so maybe she wants the 91 and on, and we can just give the Valley Reporter those, so.
I do not feel attached to storing the
I
Valley
don't
Reporters
either.
in the basement.
Especially recent,
No, and everybody associated with records said that they,
they're
in
not,
an
yeah,
environment, they don't want them in with anything important.
right, yeah, yeah.
So we're all okay with them being disposed of to the best suitable home. Rehoused. Please rehouse our Valley Reporters.
Yeah, Carol just said, please don't get rid of the old newspapers without reaching out to me. I'm interested in becoming their new owner. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I think-
rehousing.
We just let her know that Valley Reporter would like that chunk of them, and she's welcome to any of the rest of them.
Okay, so then,
Perfect.
do you have solved my conflict? And that's really all I had about the cellar. And I had a couple more things here while I have the floor. What kind of updates do you folks want from the Central Valley Regional Planning Commission and TAC and Energy? How do you want me to update you folks on that?
How would you like to update us? What would you propose?
I would prefer sending you an email. And I don't know how you want, if you wanted me to come in and read it once a quarter or something like that is
I definitely don't
fine.
think so. If there's something, I would say, if there's something significantly pertinent to us, then, let's get on an agenda and talk about it. But other than that, yeah, I mean,
Okay,
I don't even know that we need a quarterly.
So there is
frankly.
one thing that's gonna be, and this is this tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 planning type municipality. So we, as a town, the way I understand it, we get to select what we wanna be. And like tier 3 is,
One more
it's,
work.
it's the same. Tier 1 is now you almost have your own experts that are on the town payroll, for instance, like water or something like that, that you can show the planning commission that you are capable of doing everything yourself. And then there's a couple of other tiers, and now, I'm not an expert on it yet, or I'm never gonna be.
You don't intend to be?
I'll try to be conversant in it, and it's gonna come up for this town, okay, what do you wanna be?
What's the advantage or disadvantage to, I mean,
I could
if we're
see
a
no
tier,
advantage of us just not staying the same.
if we're a tier 1, it doesn't give us some,
I think it gives you more kind
Benefit.
of, because we still have to follow some central Vermont regional planning rules,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I think that kind of, you get separated out a little bit there, that you can kind of decide for
Yeah.
yourself. As long as it kind of fits in their plan. It's not clear to me that there's a huge advantage to this, but that is coming, that's what they're planning, that's what they're doing, so.
So I think email updates sound great. And if in that email we deem it necessary to have a conversation with you, we'll say, hey, would you please come in and we can discuss this on the floor. It sounds like this is one of those things where we will probably want you to make a presentation to us with your recommendations and explain the process and maybe allow us to weigh in on what makes the most sense.
Yeah, and in the past, the CBRPC rep usually reports to the planning commission more than the
So,
select
okay,
board
so
anyway.
go there first,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
Fine. I didn't know because you folks actually appoint whether it was,
Right.
you know,
We
what the.
point
chain of
everybody,
command there was,
so.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. and
So then those email
It-
updates go
just
to the planning
every
commission?
time. No, just, I mean, you're on the planning commission, usually at the planning commission meeting after you've been, they do a little update, like Dan does an MRVPD update, this is what we talked about, and so, yeah. That's how that's worked in the past.
Okay,
And TAC was the same way.
okay. All right, well then I'll try to keep it the same that way. Then the only thing that came up with CRPC that will affect us was this 3-acre rule that's coming down through the state around
Stormwater.
what are they?
Impervious surfaces.
Impervious surfaces. And we've got 2. The town has 2. The town has,
Town has,
the school
we
is
don't,
1.
we
Yeah.
haven't determined.
The
whether
school, and then there's 2 others. There's South Village, all the roads around South Village, and Sugarbush Access Road. So those are the 3 that are kicking around that have been identified for warrant.
Those are gonna be huge.
Yeah, I guess I don't.
The entirety of the road is more than 3 acres, is what it sounds like you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't
And
think
that
that there's
watershed.
been stormwater
Mitigation.
plan or whatever.
Oh my god.
So anyway, why don't you
I know,
folks
I wanna
just
do
to hear
too.
that, and that probably the school will have to, you'll have to think about.
The school's
already
in
a plan.
in
That's-
process.
There's-
yeah.
there's a
That one
plan.
we're
Yeah.
working on, yeah.
I can share that with you.
No, thanks.
Okay. No,
Just
just
as long
if
as
you
you
were,
know.
if you needed
It's
to
been really
report back to
exciting.
them.
No, I don't,
Okay.
I just, that came up, I wanted to give you
Yep.
guys a heads up on that, and I think, right, South Village is on their own, right? I mean,
Yeah, that shouldn't
Yeah.
be,
I think that association would need to deal with it, right?
I would think so.
I would think so.
yeah, I.
they're not
I don't-
town
Yeah.
roads, right?
That's what it sounded like, sounded
Okay.
like that was private. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's all I have. Any questions, comments?
No, thank you. Great work.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time.
Yeah, definitely.
No problem.
Absolutely. Yay, basement. Don't get rid of the Rolodex. Truck.
The truck. You guys all have an email.
Yep.
This, Jim Jones is the one who bought the previous highway truck from us. He loved the truck, he loved the setup. Went to Andrew and said, hey, if you guys are ever selling another truck, I want to be the first to know. Went to Andrew and said, or Andrew went to him and said, hey, we've got a truck for sale, you know, put in an offer. He said, I think 25 at first, maybe 30. And Andrew said, yeah, we need more than that. And I think he basically came right out and said, Andrew, like, what do you feel this truck is worth? Andrew said 40. He said, I'll pay it. Wrote up his offer. This was the truck that was going to potentially go to
the trade-in.
Allegiance for the trade-in. They were going to do a full-blown DOT inspection
They
on
did
it.
it.
They
They
did
did
the
it?
DOT
They
inspection.
did it and they came back with 30. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Andrew didn't tell me that. But that
Well,
might have been.
when we had talked about
Okay.
it, it had just happened the
Got
day before.
it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And
We're
so
getting 10 more for it.
Yep.
Awesome.
so basically, Andrew just needs your approval on this, and then I'll work with Andrew to write up a bill of sale, which the fire department already has one that's been sort of approved by VLCT, if you will. Jeff got it from them, I guess,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
we'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wants it sooner than later.
I was just
Yeah.
gonna say he wanted to come like tonight and get it. And
Right.
Andrew's like, the select board meeting doesn't start till 6:30.
Well, do we have a motion?
I'd make a motion that we approve, that we accept the offer of $40,000 for the 2015 International with plow and wing from
All
Jones
accept.
Snow Plowing Service.
Yeah.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do you want everyone to sign it?
Sure.
Johnny. You got a pretty color? What's going on over there today? Just
Yeah,
great.
just gray. Really lame.
Camilla?
Normally it's like pink or blue.
Do we know when he's planning to come?
I
He
think
was planning today.
tomorrow. I think he wants to come by the end of the week.
Okay.
So, yeah. Andrew said he just needs the okay and he'll get the stuff put in the back and we'll come get it.
Okay, pavilion update. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put my hat on. So the raising for the pavilion is currently scheduled for May 4th. It's a Sunday. We're working with, when the timbers are ready to be raised and also when the crane is available. So right now, the only day he has available is that Sunday, the 4th. There's a possibility that the 5th will open. And if it does, weather dependent, all factors may shift it to Monday. That would be preferable in our world, so that it's not on a Sunday. Would you rather it be on a Sunday?
Well, I just thought more people would be able
Yeah, more
to
people would.
observe on a Sunday.
Well, it's planned for Sunday. I don't think the 5th is gonna open for him. It's unlikely. He's very busy. So that's what we're shooting for. 41 of the principal members of the pavilion are complete. There are 4 more principal members to be cut. And then jack rafters, and there are like 40 of them, but they're little and they're very simple. They're also not required for raising. They're the rafters, not the frame, so to speak. A big thank you to Jim Crafts and Will Chadwick, who have both been donating time, sanding and oiling these timbers.
Nice.
Jim, do you have anything you'd like to add on that behalf?
I would like to add, it is overwhelming the amount of care and feeding that has gone into this from is it Klein?
Corrigan and Klein.
Corrigan and Klein. It is just, it's impressive.
Nice.
I was blown away.
Nice.
So,
It's good to hear.
the town of Warren's gonna be happy for the next 300 years.
Good. Good.
Thank you, Jim. Taylor has been putting in incredible amounts of work over the last 3 weeks. He's at 467 hours spent so far on this pavilion, and he's been working like 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, including weekends. Our plan, as far as the raising is concerned, is to assemble the roof system on the ground, which is going to require blocking off a space. So I'm hoping to have a little conversation about where you guys are comfortable with us doing that and what you'd like to see for safety fencing, etc. And if that's something that you need to put some consideration into
How
and
much
get back to me.
space do you need?
Well, we need, the pavilion itself is 20 by 20. So we want at least 4 feet around that in all directions. So that's 28, 30 by 30 square.
So is the rest of the green adequate
I'd
for that?
rather do it on the pavement because it's easier to shim and level on a harder
Yeah.
surface. So Taylor was originally talking about maybe doing it over here by the dumpsters, but those are handicap parking spots. I need like 2 days,
And it's on a
3 to 2
Sunday,
days.
so there's church.
Well, I was just gonna say, what days?
So the other thought we had was maybe to assemble it right where the 2 roads converge in the corner, like over there, sort of near where we moved the tree to, and blocking, so you can't go through to the library, but you can access the library from the other entrance, and you can still walk. With the idea that that would be a nice place for us to assemble it, and that would be like, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So I think you have to we've talked to all the stakeholders. I mean, fire department is gonna need to be able to get up here and park if they have a
Yep.
call, so over there is a little sketchy. This over here would probably be better, I would think, for that.
Yeah.
And since we have a separate entrance and exit for the library and a separate one here, if blocking off that middle road probably wouldn't be an issue for anybody because everybody could still come and go.
Right.
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 That would be my thought.
And we're really not
That
blocking
too.
at many parking spots.
Right.
I know,
Yeah,
right.
3 or
No,
4.
there's no parking spots.
Sometimes
Yeah.
people
Some on
park
the
along the
road,
road
but-
there in extreme cases.
Yep.
So that was sort of our thought too, and then it's a nice easy pick for the crane. He doesn't have to like spin around the
right,
entire
yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah.
It's nice and close,
And we
which keeps it
certainly don't want
safer.
to block Mr. Henke or
Right.
anybody going up to the, because we only have one access to the cemetery.
Right.
So, yeah,
So that's probably the best
I think
spot.
that does sound the best.
Okay. And then our typical fencing setup is that orange plastic fence that you all saw that we use to create boundaries. You know, I could reach out to Pierre, who has some of that like standing metal fence if you felt like we needed something more extreme. I mean, what we have isn't really all that dangerous while it's on the ground, but I definitely want to keep people off of the stuff. Do you have any specific requests with respect to signage or fencing?
Well, I think that's up to you, whether you think the orange fencing will keep people off the stuff.
Do you have a
Be
sign
my
that
guess
says keep
that
off?
they would.
Or like
Yeah.
some of those signs?
But I can make signs.
Yeah.
I feel
I think
like
just
it
a
might
couple
be
of those.
good.
Yeah.
I could also maybe ask Andrew if he has any that he'd be
Probably
willing to
does.
lend us.
Even if it's just like caution signs, keep out kind of things.
High voltage.
Yeah.
There we go.
Runaway goats, all the things. Whatever people want to
Muddy
put
road.
there.
No entry, whatever,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay. And fencing. Yeah, I'm good with the orange fencing, but I just want to
think
make
it's
sure, you know, if there's a requirement, I want to meet it.
Do we want to put a post out on Front Porch Forum or anything like that to say that this is happening?
I am
Is it-
planning a press release,
Okay.
compliments of Shannon, for next week's paper, so it'll come out on Thursday, and then the raising will be on Sunday. What do you guys want to see from a town perspective? We can do it on we can do something on Front Porch Forum
Yeah,
if you
I
want.
think
We can tell
probably
Lisa
should.
at the Valley Reporter.
Yep.
And then, so we'll raise the whole roof system at once. It'll sort of be kind of fast as far as the crane itself is concerned. And then we'll be pegging and stabilizing and whatnot. And then some of the work will continue here, like the roof decking and the floor and everything, but there will be pieces that we will still fabricate at our workshop and bring in, like the siding pieces and the benches may be fabricated offsite and then brought in. So just being clear that once the building is up, we won't necessarily be here every single day. Finishing it, some of the finishing is happening offsite and being brought in and installed.
Okay, so the Thursday being sort of the first time that we will see activity down here.
Yes,
We should expect, we'll have the raising in the next 3 days or so after that. After that, what is the expected timeline?
well, completion is by May 31st, so
Okay,
we're
so you
straight on
expect
this.
to go through all of May completing it?
I mean, we would love to be finished the week before.
I'm saying just
Yeah.
so that we understand activity-wise that you'll be
Yeah, we will be
working around
working
here
in and
for the
around
month of
here
May.
for the month of May, absolutely.
So-
There will be times when we might be fabricating something at the workshop, and if you guys want me to let you know when we're planning on being here or not, I can certainly attempt to do that. I don't know the exact order of operations that Taylor's deciding on, and it's also something that we usually allow weather to dictate. So when the weather looks like it's gonna be great for 4 days, we're gonna deck the roof. And then we're gonna do the floor. And then when we have another great stretch of weather, we're gonna put the metal on.
I think I'm simply thinking of kids. I mean, right now, kids coming from school and they're doing things on the lawn. I think
Oh.
the town needs to know that whole area
Yes,
could be under construction for the month of May.
yes,
So
that's
library
true.
needs to know.
And we will probably want to bring our job trailer down. And it would be awesome if we could sort of just park it between the buildings.
Yeah.
I think that's the
Yeah, I
best
think
spot
that's a
for
good
it.
spot for it.
Okay,
I think if we can eliminate taking up parking spaces out here
Yep.
and
Yep.
over at the
Yeah.
library,
Yeah.
we're gonna be better off.
okay.
Especially if there's a lot of people here and there's a fire call or what have you.
What about mowing?
Not the library though.
Do we need to let
I can let Lucas
Lucas
know.
know, just,
I mean, the way that we did it before was we just sort of fenced off that area and then he didn't touch it. I guess we've changed
Yeah.
contractors, so, and then once it comes down, he can mow it again.
Yeah, I can have a conversation with him.
But we're really adamant about not disturbing the lawn because we did a lot of work to get it to where it is
Right.
now and it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
really want to tread lightly there.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons for raising the roof on the ground and then flying it in so that we don't like trample everything and
Great.
so, sorry if I missed it, but what should the, as far as the raising part of it
Yeah.
goes, there was a little bit of talk about whether that's a
community.
community event.
Yeah.
What is the expectation around that, or?
Yeah, so I mean, I love the idea of having spectators and having people watching. Anytime you're flying massive timbers in the air, there's a level of liability. And so as far as participation in the actual like holding of members is concerned, I'd like to maintain control over who does that with us. Not to say that some people who attend won't be able to, but like Jim's been working with us, so he has like a certain understanding of how Taylor and I communicate, so that feels more comfortable to me. You know, like our electrician Kevin, who's hoping to pull the wire ahead of time, is talking about being at the raising. Like if he wanted to jump in, I would feel good with that. I don't necessarily want to rely on people that I don't have a relationship with. I know Marie's husband and I have worked together, and he's like, I always forget his name, and I'm sorry, Peter. But like if he wanted to help, he's a reliable set of hands, and I would be happy to include
So I
him.
would say Corrigan Klein will determine who participates actively, but the community is welcome to come and observe.
Absolutely, yeah. And as I know more, as
Safely.
far as like timing, like when Cole gives me a time when he can come, I will communicate that to you. I'll see if I can get a time from him for the press release, which would be great. But then we can certainly update on the Valley Reporter and Report Forum in real time
I did send an email to VLCT today asking
about liability.
about liability
Yeah,
for the town. So if, someone, Jim was helping volunteer and he unfortunately got hurt,
Who does that fall on?
Who's that fault on that?
Great.
Yeah, so, not to give you that bad juju, but.
So I'm pretty sure you shouldn't
that would help.
I mean, as
Or
far
design.
as far as a raising is concerned, this one is very controlled because we are not flying individual members, which typically when we're doing that, we're stabilizing a post, we're holding a brace, and we're aligning mortises and tenons. This is going to be put together and set down on posts. So I basically need people manning posts, and there are no other things to sort of engage while we do that.
Okay.
So it should be clean and easy.
How's
But
this? Ready? Please note that Warren Village Green will be designated as an active work zone during construction. For safety reasons, public access will be limited to some areas approved by Corrigan Klein Builders, who will determine participation in the community build phases of the project.
awesome. I love that.
On the fly.
Thank you.
You need a, okay, your quote too.
What?
You just said it, I took it.
She's our new communications director. Okay, that's great. I'm excited to hear from them. And then once we get into the build out process, we will still have an opportunity for some volunteer labor and more so than right now, for sure.
Yeah.
And we'll, I just wanted to mention that Andrew Spencer is still doing the railing on the ramp. Kevin's pulling power. And I haven't had a chance to connect with Joel again about benches. I think we're probably going to do it in-house because I have material. I have teak to match the floor. So I think we're just going to do it. But if he wants to help and make it go faster, that would be great. I'll reach out to him. Do y'all have any other questions for me?
When's the party?
I'm not responsible for the party.
When's the party?
We're
When's the
wanting
party,
to do-
Kaylee? When's the party?
Like a community day
Take
and
it in
sort of
June.
have, the historical society, the conservation committee, the fire department, the library.
Maybe we can
You
do
know,
it
the
towards
arts.
the end of school.
Yeah.
I think
more
June,
than
yeah, like end of school,
Yeah.
like when we used to have the block party.
Right.
That would be
How's it?
really cool.
I second it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so if at any time you have any questions or concerns,
Yep.
please just call me.
Yep.
Text me, email me. That's true for any and all involved parties. And we're really excited. It's looking really good. It's gonna be
Great.
beautiful.
Awesome. I think people will be excited to start to see
Yeah.
Yeah.
progress.
It's always hard because so much work happens
Yeah.
off-site. So it can be challenging to communicate effectively
Yeah.
that it is happening. But 41 members, and some of those members have like, I don't know, 20 different joints.
Oh. I don't-
It's pretty
I don't
intense.
know how you guys do it. I think it's amazing.
It's
amazing.
Taylor. He's an artist. It's great.
It is a piece of art.
Yeah.
That's
to
good.
see it.
He's
great.
really excited to share what he can do with this community.
So I have a question about the construction of it.
Yeah.
Will you folks list what each type of beam, what type of wood it is, and where it came from?
We could. We have.
Could you do that for posterity's sake? You know, just to say, okay, look, this came from here, this came from here,
Yeah.
this came from here.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like,
We certainly know where it all comes from.
Providence.
And most of it is Vermont grown.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is one member that's black oak that comes from Massachusetts,
wakeful.
and the white oak posts come from Ohio.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think everything is maybe even within 50 miles of here.
It'd just be
Pretty
neat
sure.
to have it
Yeah.
written down
Maybe
and
it's
have it
definitely.
our
For sure.
Warren Town record. That,
Yeah.
this is
Future
where the stuff
historical
comes-
societies.
And you know, we have talked at length about there being a plaque involved with this build that honors everyone that's participated, which is quite a number. I mean, I just brought our stainless plates that are going to be the post bases up to Mountain Air Systems in Burlington because none of us are capable of drilling a hole in 1/2-inch stainless steel. Turns out even the biggest diamond bits don't survive. So they have a water jet that's going to do it.
Oh, nice.
And we told them that it's for a pavilion that we're, you know, donating our time to build for the town of Warren. And they were like, well, we might just do it for free. We're not really sure yet, but they said they'd figure something out. So like even honoring those little
Yeah.
pieces, I think will be really nice. And all of the people involved. And maybe, you know, I'm not necessarily responsible for designing that plaque, but maybe that's something that the Historical Society or the Planning Commission wants to get involved in. How is that presented? Where is it? What does it look like? Kind of a thing.
I like it.
Any other questions for me? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna be done with this then. Thanks, team. What's next? Town garage update.
I don't think we have one.
I don't think we have one.
I don't think there's anything new. 'cause
We have our kickoff meeting with REARC
Right.
on the 30th,
April 30th.
April 30th.
Yep.
and that's it.
Yep. Okay, cool. Action items.
What do I have? I'm going to talk to Wood and Wood about the pressure treated posts, whether they're seasoned or not. I am going to talk
Thanks,
to.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Central Vermont Regional Planning, as well as the Sheriff's Department about the speed study. If we can move the tapes, if we can have them for a month, and then talk to the Sheriff's Department about, you know, after 2 weeks of opening, could they have a presence, and then can they keep a log
Yeah.
of their time? And I think that's pretty much it for this meeting. I'm just waiting, to
Yeah.
hear back from Ron. I can never remember his last name.
Wanamaker?
Wanamaker about the town hall doors.
Oh.
Asked
Yep.
him for an update.
And
I think a lot of people are on
LCT.
vacation. Because Eli, I believe, is also on vacation. Because I sent him another
Ron
email.
is not great at email either, so bug him.
I will.
Yeah.
And you're still waiting to hear from the LCT on the STR ordinance review, right?
Yeah, I sent them another and to follow up, and I haven't heard anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Announcing that we're trying.
yep. And
We're waiting to hear back from Primer, Piper, and Eggleston. And there was someone else. Oh, and we forgot to, we're working on the MOU with
Nick.
Oh.
Nick for HUUS.
Oh, you are?
Well,
Yep.
we've gotten him to respond.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
responded to us.
I sent him, he asked for a map of
We're
the
gonna set a
area.
meeting.
We're gonna set a meeting. It's gonna be easier if
Yeah.
we just talk to him about it.
Yeah,
Good.
but
What
it's,
is the timeline for meeting with V-Trans again?
We're just waiting for them. They were coming to do a
Mid-May,
site
they
visit.
figured.
Okay,
And we're waiting to hear back from them.
great.
I would think at any time I will receive something,
yeah,
so.
cool, awesome.
And then, I forgot to add it to my report, but I did, communicate with the 3, people who came to the candidates forum
Oh,
on the
okay.
8th.
Thanks.
Thanking them for coming, letting them know that since that meeting, we've had a couple of more interested parties, and Mr. McGurk has withdrawn his
Oh, yes.
Candidacy.
candidacy.
He interpreted our blurb in the Valley Reporter as us thinking we could do better.
Better.
Did we have a blurb in the Valley Reporter? I didn't
Lisa
blurb.
asked me what the follow-up would be to the candidates forum. And I said, we have not had an opportunity to deliberate. We have had at least one other interested party and we plan to hold another candidates forum. And we'll communicate, we're gonna touch base about it on our next meeting and we'll let everybody know. My intent was definitely not to suggest that we thought we could do better, just that we wanna make sure that we honor anyone that is interested and be mindful about how we make the decision and give it its due course.
And we just have our hands full, so.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So I am really, I'm sorry
Okay.
that he felt
I am
that
too.
way.
I am too.
Please know, Michael, if you're watching, that we did not mean that.
Yeah,
That was
definitely not.
not our intention in any way, shape, or form. That begs the question of having another
Yes.
candidates forum, which I think we should do.
What's our
And-
next agenda look like?
Yeah, what does our next agenda look like?
Oh, that's our hazard mitigation public meeting,
Oh. Which
So
is what
that's-
date?
13th.
13th of May.
And I don't know if we're any further on with the Ellen Lane configuration, so that could potentially
I think that
Right.
should probably,
get crossed out.
Well,
well,
it could be. I mean, that's
We should have an answer from V-Trans at that point.
right. That's 3 weeks away.
that's 3 weeks away.
Yeah, so we may be able.
I mean, maybe they'll be coming to visit, maybe they won't. So that's
We'll
optional.
leave it.
So the hazard mitigation public meeting, talk us through how that's gonna go.
Let me just open.
We're gonna, you're
Lincoln's.
gonna present the plan, the team is gonna present. the
Yeah,
plan,
Central Vermont Regional Planning will,
Make a
just-
presentation.
Oh,
yep, Lincoln and Keith will, Keith and Lincoln will facilitate the meeting to review the hazard analysis scoring, which we as a group did, and then we put a couple of things out on Front Porch Forum for the community and the townspeople to do. They will collect mitigation action ideas / hazard locations and promote the online survey. And it's basically Central Vermont Regional Planning that facilitates the meeting.
Do they give us an estimation of how long that takes?
I can ask them.
That would
I
be
think
good to
we're
know.
on a deadline, our team, to get our plan done, because we're already behind on it.
no, how long?
How long does
meeting
the
might
public
take?
meeting
Oh,
usually last?
I don't think it's gonna be any more than, I mean, he said it, I don't think it'll be any more than 45 minutes.
Well,
Depends on participation, I think,
Yeah,
from the
if we get,
from the
if we
public.
get a lot of people, then it can be longer. but if we don't get
It
too many
doesn't strike
people-
me as something that people are really gonna come out and get excited about.
I don't know.
Really?
They used to facilitate these in Massachusetts, and people came out in droves.
Yeah.
And they would spend hours mulling over maps and circling all of the things that they thought were hazards in the town that we need to address.
I guess my question is, because we have 3 weeks, I can't believe I'm gonna say this.
Are you
Should
gonna
we-
suggest another meeting?
Should we have a separate meeting?
Yes, we should.
It feels like a
Or-
lot to include with a regular meeting.
For the hazard
No,
mitigation?
I feel like, no, the hazard mitigation we should keep as the
Well,
regular meeting.
I'm just saying, we should
Yeah.
have but we shouldn't try to add it to a regular meeting, is what I'm saying.
I think it should be part of our regular select board
Okay.
meeting.
So you want a really long one that night?
I mean, I think that's what we're stuck with.
Why?
Yeah, at the-
Why can't we just have a separate?
I think Camilla's suggesting we have a separate meeting, keep hazard mitigation on that
On the
night.
regular day, but
But
have
do
a separate-
other work on another night.
Instead
Is that
of-
what you're saying?
Yes, instead of
Then that's
adding
fine.
it.
I thought you were thinking that we should
Change the
move
schedule.
the hazard mitigation.
No, I don't
meeting.
think,
Okay,
at
then
this
we're
point,
good. Yeah.
it seems like it's already scheduled,
Yeah.
so, yeah. No, I'm just saying, rather than trying to do
Yeah,
everything in one
We can
night,
do a special meeting for our
For
other
our-
items, yeah.
regular meeting.
Well, my computer thinks we already have one on the 6th.
Yeah, I went and switched mine. Oops.
Okay, well, what are we putting on that meeting then? Our next meeting? If we want to maintain hazard mitigation on the 13th and add a special meeting on the 6th. Or some other time if that day doesn't work.
What were we just talking about?
Candidates forum.
Right. Well,
Or,
how about this? How about if we leave it as it is, but over the next week or so, if it looks like we've got enough that we
that we need to address,
yeah,
add the 6th.
kind of pencil in the 6th.
Yeah.
Does that sound
Sounds
good?
good to me.
Leave it as a possibility.
That works, and then if that doesn't happen, we can do that candidates forum on the 27th of May.
Right.
Okay.
Because potentially right now, we only have one interested
Party.
Right.
party.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I spoke
Yeah.
to somebody yesterday, but the usual
heard from
problem, they just have
someone-
too much going
Yeah.
on.
The other day too.
You what?
I heard from someone the other day too.
Who might be
Well-
interested still? Okay.
Let them
This person
know
came off the list.
that we're looking at the 6th or the 27th.
Do you want me to put it back out on Front Porch Forum like I did?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
do that again, and Valley Reporter.
Okay.
Since we have one more person, we might as well have everybody.
Yeah,
Come then.
you know,
Yeah,
the
anybody.
town of Warren is planning a second candidates forum. Any interested parties, please make yourselves known as soon as possible. Sending a bio and a letter of
Right, right.
interest
So
to the
people
town
know to do
administrator. And the other piece that, you know, didn't come up in the forum the other night that I was surprised by, like, we opened it up for them to have questions for us, was there was no conversation about, you know, what's involved? What's the time commitment? Like, what are the expectations? And I think that maybe we should offer that the second time around, so we could communicate that we'll be doing a little bit more of that maybe to the already interested
Okay.
candidates if they
Letting
want to
them know
come.
or answering their question?
Letting them know, because I feel like a
Making a
lot of those
statement ahead.
candidates had already talked to people one-on-one to understand what the time commitments are, but we don't
right.
necessarily know that the second round of folks have also had that same.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, you know, and being transparent and communicating, we can offer it if they don't ask. They should ask, but.
I'm probably not the right one to say it because everybody I talked to said, "Oh, I can't do that much time." Like, oops, okay. Just shot myself in the foot, didn't
It's
I?
okay, Devin totally undersold how much time it actually is.
Did I?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Like 2 hours
Good
a
job.
week, Kaylee.
I'm
You can
pretty
totally
sure
do
I
this.
said Andy told me it was 2 hours a week, and that's not true.
And that's hasn't happened yet.
Also, you know, we've taken on a lot of the load, so our estimation of time may be a little.
No, yeah, no,
Heavy-handed.
but you know, even there's the whole budget. You know, just
Yeah.
at the end of the year, it's
Yeah.
definitely not just twice a
month.
Yeah. so-
Because you just suggested an extra meeting.
I know, right? See, because I keep doing things like that.
Look,
Yeah. Oh, wow. I got slapped
oh
back.
my gosh. Okay, are we good? Should we sign stuff?
Yes, let's sign it.
Let's do it.
So,
Anybody else, other business? Yes, please.
Which will save you maybe an email or phone call for tomorrow. At the DRB meeting
Oh, yeah, I meant
for the Lincoln Gap, development maybe that's going on.
May Valley.
Subdivision, I guess, or something that's
Uh-huh.
going on. It came up that maybe Lincoln Gap, Brook Road, and Roxbury Gap are scenic byways in Warren?
They're not.
They're not.
I talked to Ruth. They're not.
They're not.
They're, scenic routes, but
Right.
they're not, they
They're
haven't
not
not been
designated. They're not
designated.
designated.
Correct.
I think the
Correct.
100 corridor is
Yes,
the only
exactly.
that is
Exactly.
designated.
Okay.
Yep, she said I had her listen to your voicemail, and she said that, I meant to call you, I apologize, my
No,
day
that's
just.
fine. I knew I was coming.
And she said that she thinks what happened was the way that it was worded in the meeting indicated that they're scenic byways, but they're not. They're just they're scenic routes, and they haven't been officially designated as scenic byways.
Right. And is there like if you're building a house, you have to be 100 feet from the road or something?
Yes, I believe that's what she said.
if it's a scenic.
If it's a scenic
designated.
byway.
That's in the zoning.
Exactly. Yep.
As opposed to the usual 50-foot road
Yeah.
frontage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That was it.
Thank you.
Sure. Then I'm ready.
Okay, bye.
Thanks, Perry. Thanks for everything.
Before we sign things, did we officially appoint Shannon as the town historian?
No.
I don't think so.
No?
Is that why you're still here?
No. Hanging out.
Sorry if we kept you, if that was it. Can I hear a motion to officially appoint Shannon as our town historian?
I would like to make a motion to appoint Shannon Konvicka as the town historian of
You're gonna add
Warren.
something.
And, no. I'd like to
And you have to
second
take the
that.
vote flex. Did you second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay, now I'm ready to sign stuff.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve payroll in the amount of $30,108.17.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Another motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $1,784,715.
Thank you. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're supposed to hold our noses while we do that. It's not just hardwood, we raise more money than we spend on our own district. Just a reminder.
Will do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but isn't this the Harwood amount?
It's the state education fund. I think it's both. Well, it goes to,
Washington West.
it's Washington, it
Yeah.
all goes to the state.
Right.
That needs you.
Thank you.
This has all three of us. This one I signed in the wrong spot, but I put
Okay.
an arrow for us to switch.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's it?
We're done.
Yeah, we're just not.
Is there anything?
No, not yet. Not doing as much accounts payable. We were doing them every week, and now we're trying to do them bi-weekly and or monthly, for expenses.
Okay. Do our creditors like that?
Well, they obviously want to be paid as soon as possible, but anything that says net 30, we're waiting that net 30.
Instead of just automatically
Yeah,
paying.
yeah.
Let's not piss anybody off.
No, and that I did, say that, unfortunately, people get used to
Right.
receiving payment in a
Yeah.
timely fashion,
Yeah.
and,
There may
if
be
there's
somebody
somebody
have
that
to
we have a good
communicate with.
relationship with, then we
Yeah.
need to reach out and communicate and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise I
Yeah.
think we need to pay
Yeah.
our bills the way
Yeah,
we usually
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
do. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. I'm hungry.
Thank you.